I wake up to a new headline lying about me. I have comedians dressing up in whiteface. I have people saying I'm not fit to be CEO. And I have Candace Owens claiming I murdered my husband. And the list goes on and on.
A comedian, a widow, a president, and 183 million eyes locked in. But here's the part people keep missing. Rewind it, because this mess didn't start with Erika Kirk's outfit. It didn't start at HS press conference, and it wasn't born from Candace Owens posting clips. The fuse was lit weeks after her husband's passing, when Erika decided she wasn't going to disappear quietly. She stepped forward and started showing up as the public face of Turning Point USA, and a big slice of the internet took that personally. Before we even touch what Druski did, you've got to clock the stage that was already built. You can't judge a skit like this without the pressure cooker that made it hit so hard. Charlie was already a lightning rod. People either rode for him or couldn't stand him, no in between. That's not me taking sides, that's just how online politics looked in 2025. And then after he was gone, something shifted. Erika started popping up everywhere fast. Interviews, shows, events, cameras on her, microphones in her face, and the comment section instantly turned into a courtroom. For a lot of people watching, it felt too soon, even though nobody online agrees on what soon even means. That uneasy vibe is what gave this whole situation oxygen. It's what gave Candace Owens material to swing with. It's what put a bright target on Erika's back, and it's what made Druski's joke land like a grenade, because the internet loves a clean hero, even when real life is messy. Here's the harsh truth about the timeline police. They don't care about grief, context, or coping. The moment you step into the public square again and again, speeches, interviews, photo ops, you get treated like open season. Not because it's fair, but because that's how the game gets played online. And Erika walked right onto that field.
We have to protect all men in America, especially all white men in America. Those are the boys that we care about in this country. America is built on their back.
So what exactly did Druski do? He dropped a skit titled How Conservative Women in America Act. And let's be real, Druski going viral isn't some rare miracle. This is his lane. He's built his whole brand off character comedy, big, exaggerated impressions, and roasting types of people in a way that feels a little too accurate. This time, the type was super specific. The conservative influencer woman who wraps every hot take in a Bible verse, smiles sweet for the camera, then slides in a very clear political agenda right after. And the part that had everyone whispering, then shouting, was how much it looked like Erika Kirk. The makeup, the vibe, the cadence, even the little phrases and the stage setup. He didn't just copy the tone, he rebuilt the whole look like he was cloning the whole performance. And then came the line that made people freeze up, the bit about protecting white men. That's where a lot of viewers said, okay, this is getting heavy. Not because it came out of nowhere, but because Erika Kirk actually said it in a real speech out loud on record. That's the thing. If you say something publicly and you build your whole media presence around an ideology, you don't get to act shocked when a comedian repeats it back to you with perfect timing and a straight face. That's not some secret attack. That's a mirror getting held up and the reflection hitting harder than people expected. The numbers were insane. 1.2 million likes, 183 million views on Twitter. Read that again, because that's not a funny clip. That's the whole internet piling into one moment. And then Donald jumped in. During a Holy Week press conference of all settings, he looked right at Erika Kirk and told her to sue Druski. Not once, but multiple times. Think about how wild that is. The President of the United States at an official press conference telling a private citizen to sue a comedian over a skit that didn't even name anyone. A skit got 183 million views because it was so on point. It didn't even need to say a name. Everybody still knew exactly who it was aimed at and his explanation for why it blew up. Jealousy.
I have comedians dressing up in whiteface.
That framing feels almost painfully middle school. The idea that 183 million people watched a comedian clown a public figure because they're jealous doesn't even sound real. Not because the situation is weird on its own. Not because public-facing activists and influencers get satirized every day. Not because comedy has always been about reflecting power back to itself. Nope, just jealousy.
Kirk came out today, and she was channeling Janet Jackson in Rhythm Nation. I was feeling it at first. I was like, we're about to get a routine.
That's the excuse he ran with, and people instantly clocked how unserious it sounded. And what makes it even crazier is the selective outrage. While he is basically playing Erika Kirk's personal cheerleader, a lot of people are looking at the bigger story and going, wait, what about the actual questions around Charlie passing? Who? Why? How? What did the investigation even find? Those topics aren't getting pushed with the same energy, and people notice that too. After all that noise, Erika Kirk finally responded. She didn't do a quick statement and keep it moving. She stepped out and gave a speech. She addressed the Druski skit. She addressed Candace Owens. She addressed the headlines. And the internet did not take it well, not just because of what she said, but how she said it. The delivery, the outfit, the way she framed the whole thing like she was presenting a case to a jury. And then she dropped the line that sent the comment sections into overdrive. She looked at what Druski did, putting on makeup, copying mannerisms, mirroring a public figure, and she called it whiteface.
Erika, we are way beyond coincidence. This is now a full-blown conspiracy. I said to my team this morning that the amount of evidence that is now piling up, I would say against Erika Kirk, is almost akin to an NBC Dateline episode. I want to know why the decision was made to Charlie Kirk. A decision that very clearly had to be.
Here's where the backlash really took off. A lot of people said that comparison doesn't hold up. Blackface has a specific history tied to racist mockery and discrimination, and treating it like it's the same thing as a comedian parodying a white public figure is exactly the kind of claim that makes everyone jump in left, right, center. People who weren't even paying attention suddenly had a fresh reason to pile on. And then there was the outfit. Look, style is personal. People can wear whatever they want, but when you're already under a microscope, when millions of strangers are breaking down every blink, every pause, every hand gesture, you can't ignore optics, especially if you're trying to rebuild a public image that's been getting dragged for months. Because the outfit she wore for that speech had the internet doing double takes. Half the timeline said it looked like an Imperial officer uniform from Star Wars. That comparison took off fast, and once something like that sticks, it's game over for the tone you wanted to set. Candace Owens, who is absolutely not a fan of Erika Kirk, looked almost excited to jump on it. And she wasn't alone. The memes multiplied, the side-by-side edits multiplied. People were remixing clips, cropping screenshots, turning the whole thing into a running joke. Instead of calming things down, that speech basically fed the content machine and gave it 10 more rounds to unload. Now we've got to talk about Candace Owens because she's a major pillar in how this story exploded. Candace and Charlie were close. After his passing, she didn't circle the wagons around Erika. She went the opposite direction. She started asking questions in public again and again, and she wasn't doing it softly either. And this is where it gets legally slippery. Candace Owens isn't careless. She knows exactly how to play it. She has never said on record that Erika Kirk unalived her husband. What she does instead is imply. She lays down a trail of just asking questions. She points at what she calls suspicious timing. She repeats certain details. She lets the audience connect dots on their own. That's not random, that's strategy. Because if you never say the accusation straight out loud, you can lean on plausible deniability. You can say, I didn't claim anything, I'm just asking questions. While the comment section does the dirty work for you. And that's why when Erika gave her speech and aimed her response at someone who claimed she unalived her husband, people said it was technically accurate in the way the internet works. Even if Candace never used those exact words. The implication was loud enough to function like an accusation for a lot of viewers. One more thing, and I'm keeping this fair. The whole thumbnail moment people were passing around, the one described as Erika Kirk topless holding a rifle aimed at Charlie, is the kind of inflammatory imagery that can twist a situation into pure rage bait. Whether it was real, edited, or just used to shock, it shows how quickly the story got pushed into ugly territory instead of sticking to facts. That thumbnail did exist. And yeah, it was edited, but it still existed. And once something like that hits the timeline, it spreads like crazy. People don't stop to ask what's real, what's altered, what's context. They just react, repost, and let the chaos grow. So what did Druski do when everything blew up? Nothing. No apology video, no statement, no long Twitter thread, no let me clear this up, nothing at all. He kept posting like it was a regular week, kept retweeting people laughing about the skit, kept promoting new stuff, and he even announced he's hosting the 2026 BET Awards right in the middle of it all. That's a huge career flex, and he dropped it while the controversy was at max volume. Like the whole drama was just background noise, and that silence was brutal because that's how internet beef works. The second you respond to a comedian, you stamp the joke as real, and you basically hand them the trophy. Every serious speech Erika Kirk gave, every formal response, every time she stepped out and addressed the skit, it kept the clip alive longer than it ever needed to be. If she had stayed quiet, the moment might have burned out faster, but she kept feeding it, even if that wasn't her intention. D'Souza understood the playbook, and she didn't. He didn't even need to clap back because the attention kept coming to him anyway. But underneath the skit drama and the outfit arguments, this story is really about something bigger. It's about a woman stepping into one of the most powerful conservative media machines, Turning Point USA, right after her husband's assassination, and a lot of people weren't ready for that shift. And honestly, maybe she wasn't ready either because the PR around her has looked messy. The optics have been shaky. The statements keep landing wrong and backfiring in real time. And the question that keeps getting asked isn't just coming from random trolls. It's coming from people who actually supported Charlie. Who is this for? Because Charlie was Charlie. His movement was built around his personality, his debating style, his specific way of connecting with young conservatives on college campuses. That kind of thing doesn't transfer cleanly, and it can't just be handed off like a title belt. And every time someone tries to position Erika as the direct continuation of that legacy, it puts pressure on her, and it starts making the legacy look strained, too. Instead of feeling like a natural next chapter, it starts feeling like a forced replacement. And that's exactly why people keep watching this unfold like a slow-motion pileup. And that's the real issue here, not the skit, not the whiteface claim, not even the Candace Owens conspiracy spiral. The real issue is this. The whole Erika Kirk public rollout has felt like a production, like a carefully staged project. And in the internet age, people are scary good at spotting when something feels forced instead of real. Now zoom way out and look at how insane this chain of events is. A comedian posts a skit. It pulls 183 million views. The President of the United States at a press conference tells someone to sue the comedian. The comedian's response is announcing he's hosting the BET Awards. Then the person being joked about gives a speech in an outfit that trends for 3 straight days. And on top of that, a former close friend is on YouTube hinting at a conspiracy around the passing of one of the biggest conservative voices in America. And through all of it, the moment, the whiteface line, the Dateline-style comparisons people were tossing around, the memes, the outfit talk, Druski just kept posting like nothing happened. That's the part people don't want to admit. He didn't win by being louder. He won by being quieter. And that's what makes it sting so bad for everyone who tried to come at him. Because when you've got a president chiming in, legal talk flying around, speeches being made, and non-stop headlines, and the comedian still hasn't said a single word, the skit stops being the main joke. At that point, the silence becomes the punchline. The attention becomes the punchline. The reaction becomes the punchline. And the dust from that viral moment never really settled. It just kept drifting and spreading. After the skit hit 183 million views and sparked one of the messiest online pileups of the year, the story didn't cool off. It leveled up. Erika Kirk, instead of letting it fade out, stepped forward to address it head-on. And without meaning to, she handed Druski a second wind without him even lifting a finger. Her public statement, delivered in that sharp, all-black look that the internet instantly compared to everything from a Star Wars Imperial officer to an M&M post-rehab vibe, was supposed to set the record straight. Instead, it became another round of content for the same machine that was already chewing her up. Instead, it turned into the next wave of content, and the internet did what it always does when it smells a weak moment. The optics felt off. The framing landed even worse. Calling what Druski did whiteface was the kind of wording that instantly set off alarms, because it doesn't carry the same history or weight as what people compare it to. And the backlash hit fast. It wasn't just critics, either. It was random onlookers who didn't even care yesterday, suddenly jumping in today because that one phrase made it a bigger argument than it needed to be. That single word choice flipped the whole situation. What could have stayed a messy conversation about comedy, grief, and public attention turned into a loud debate about false comparisons. And Erika Kirk ended up taking the heat from every direction. People weren't even debating the skit anymore. They were debating her judgment. Meanwhile, Candace Owens, who used to be close with Charlie, kept running her own parallel storyline. Not direct accusations, not on the record, not the kind of sentence you can quote cleanly in court. Instead, it was hints, leading questions, and connect-the-dots energy, delivered just carefully enough to dodge saying the most explosive part out loud. Screenshots started circling, thumbnails got passed around, and the line between commentary and something legally risky started looking thinner by the day. Then jumping in added a surreal layer to everything. Him telling Erika Kirk to sue Druski at an official press conference during Holy Week was supposed to look like support, but what it really did was broadcast one thing loud and clear. This skit had reached the top of the political food chain, and once that happened, it didn't shrink the story. It supercharged it. Every serious institution that touched the story made it bigger. Every formal response made Druski's silence look colder, cleaner, and more planned. And while Erika was dealing with legal chatter, PR headaches, and an outfit turning into a 3-day meme festival, Druski was out here announcing he's hosting the 2026 BET Awards, like he was collecting trophies while everyone else was arguing in the comments. The controversy didn't slow him down. It introduced him to people who never even knew his name, and his silence wasn't just dodging smoke. It was positioning. He understood something the people swinging at him didn't want to accept. In the attention economy, The person who reacts usually takes the L, so now we're left with the part nobody has a neat answer for. Turning Point USA is trying to keep moving without its founder with leadership the public still doesn't fully accept as a real successor. The conspiracy talk around Charlie's assassination hasn't gone away. It's getting louder. And Erika Kirk is still in the center of the storm. Still speaking, still appearing, still feeding content cycles that seem to benefit everybody except her. The skit was the spark, but the fire was already there and it's still burning. If you made it this far, drop a comment and tell me what you think is really driving all of this. Hit like, subscribe to the Fame Spot channel, share this video with a friend who's been following the drama, and I'll see you on the next one.